spot on, Dave. And you know, you work on all these awesome things in the internet, but there's one thing that you're very passionate about right now, and you frame it as buffer bloat. And I know Frank is looking to get into nuclear war and buffer bloat. Frank, without further ado, like let's dive in. Like Dave, the broadband community and this in particular, like you're a technologist, you know how these things work, right? We work to get these really important, knowledge transfers in front of folks like state broadband directors that are about to receive on average $750 million a piece to go and fix the broadband problem. And many of them don't know what is buffer bloat.
Yeah.
Right?
I built a copy. I built a copy of the internet for demonstration purposes. It's a little buggy, but I'm hoping I can use it to illustrate my points.
Wow.
Okay. A little buggy today. So can you guys read that on the other side of the screen to some extent?
Yeah.
What I do here. So the internet is a system, and I know that people are into broadband, but broadband is just a component. The internet connects everything together. But the way the internet is a system that works, first you have your Wi-Fi from my laptop to this wire, and that connects to your Wi-Fi router, and then it connects to the CPE, customer premise equipment. Then it transits the internet, possibly using something like broadband, up to the ISP. You can see that, right? And then it typically goes to a peering provider, like Level 3 or Hurricane. Am I lecturing too much? This is going to take me 2 minutes to get to
this is perfect.
This is not buzzword bingo, okay? And then you have what's called an internet exchange point. And I'm going to repeat this several times today. I would like every broadband director on the planet to go visit an internet exchange point to learn how this part of the network works. And then, you can't see it so well, you got CDNs, content distribution networks. And then, this is the current modern internet. The older internet that we had actually connected people to people across the world. So this stack here is typically about 40 milliseconds long. But it also connects people around the world. Theoretically, you can go about 260 milliseconds. So I would go out all the way over. Can you still hear me over there?
Yes. Loud and clear, Dave.
Yes, you can still hear me? So I would have all these connections that had to go all the way out here in order to get their data. And it took a while. So what we did is develop what we call the cloud. I love my little demos. Thank you very much. As a brief interruption, this demo and my art department today was Natasha Folko of Natasha Silk Art of Half Moon Bay. She's got a broken arm, and she would really love some of your business. She takes great paintings and great dance clothes. We're returning now to our regular show. I stole a whole bunch of her cars to do this talk. All right, so now I've described what the internet actually looks like, okay?
Okay.
At a much larger level, I'm going to talk more about latency, but you asked me about my bête noire, buffer bloat. So, really simple explanation. When we design the internet, up here in the cloud, okay, stuff is running at hundreds and hundreds of gigabits per second, okay? And down here at the edge of the internet is coming out at tens of megabits, 6 to 6, something like a 6 or 50,000 to 1 difference in speed. And somehow we had to have all these devices here communicating at 100 gigabits, step down the rate to something that worked. And that we learned in the early 2000s how to get web pages out, but the stuff that the compromise that we'd made, which in part caused the BitTorrent fiasco, which we might talk to, resulted in this endemic problem on all the gear that everyone has called buffer bloat. So what happens is people pour in data at 500 gigabits. And then it comes out, see there you go, at 10 megabits. And if I was trying to have a conversation with you, that download would have completely ruined this conversation. It would be taking, every word would now be taking, this conversation would start a minute from now. And that was the buffer bloat problem as it stood in 2010. It took a lot of engineering and science and research from 2010 to about now to figure out how to get stuff that went at 100 gigabits to run at 10. And that's it. Now I got to go clean up my boat later. Anyway, buffer bloat, 1 minute.
Boat? Did you say boat?
Buffer bloat on the buffer boat. Yes.
Are you on a buffer boat?
Yeah. Yeah. She's
I know that.
a little 35-foot boat that I got from a nice check I got from Google at one point. I took their check. I bought the boat for cash, and
Okay, that's pretty badass. How's the Wi-Fi? It looks pretty good.
Well, it's my Wi-Fi, and it is very good. Secondly, the way we're talking today is actually through a Starlink terminal.
Okay.
So our conversation is going from my Wi-Fi through the internet, through a Starlink terminal, to a satellite 500 miles overhead to Seattle, down to LA, and over to you. And it's going over to you. You're in what, Palo Alto?
Normally I'm over in Livermore with the
I don't know
wife and
how.
the boy. But,
I rigged some math to do a Palo Alto comparison. Okay.
okay.
So I'm if you were in Palo Alto, this is incredibly inefficient. Okay. The latency, because I want to talk more about latency today than buffer bloat. The latency between me and you and going this enormous trip kind of makes our interactions a little slower than they could be. Whereas if I was going directly to Palo Alto, which is about 26 miles away by road, it would take microseconds. It would be like I was whispering in your ear. And my hope is that we continue to find ways of shortening round trip times and latency as a product of the overall stuff. So I'm going to try it. Buffer bloat is fixed if people deploy the right gear, and I don't have to talk about the right gear. You know, anything built in the last 5 years has a buffer bloat mitigation in it. You know, this is cheap little router.
Okay, so newish gear.
Newish gear.
Okay.
Stuff with software, you know. My hope is that ISPs are the DSL ones. The buffer bloat problem was and is universal. Okay, it was really bad on DSL, really bad on cable, really bad on fiber, and all the existing ISPs experiencing problems with buffer bloat can just upgrade that gear, and all of a sudden their customers will stop screaming for more bandwidth because all of a sudden they'll be able to have a conversation again. So I very strongly hope that the internet as a whole, on every subservice, it's your bloody bloat, not boat, and boat too. So I put in the chat early on a presentation we gave the FCC about how to really speed up the internet in 2013. And a lot of that work is complete. It's just crossing the chasm. So we're good there?
I think so, Dave. You know, like, well, let's get into the benefits. Like you mentioned, like it's like somebody whispering in your ear, which brings up an interesting thought. Like I know you got a "This Machine Kills Vogon" sticker on the axe in the back, and I think that was a "This Machine Kills Vogon's" tape. Is that a cassette?
I don't.
Oh my God!
I'm sorry. The record does go back that long. I don't have it on CD. So it's faded from the internet.
Well, but in this case, like Dave,